Auzubillahi minash-shaytanir-rajeem. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. As-salatu was-salam ala rasulihil kareem. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Allahumma faqqihna fid-din. Rabbi yassir wa la tu'assir wa tammim bil khair wa bika nasta'in ya aziz wa ya ghafar. Assalamu alaikum, dear all. Welcome to our book club. I hope you and your families are doing well. And mashallah, we are in that time where the anticipation of Ramadan is growing. I hope each and every one of us with our families are planning to have a wonderful Ramadan. Yes, this is going to be a socially distanced Ramadan, but inshallah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us with the Ramadan, inshallah. So coming back to our book that we have been doing, last time was our first time that we started the book club, and we read the first 2 chapters. For the people who are joining today, the book that we are reading is that you can be the happiest women in the world. The author is Dr. Ayad Al-Qarni. He's still, mashallah, alive and well. And this is, and I think another amazing book that he wrote was Don't Be Sad. And these are amazing books to, to learn from. So with me, I have, Sister Afreen with me. And together, both of us, go on this social journey of socializing with you all. And as we said in the previous book club, the purpose of this book club is to socialize. You are reading the book, it's pretty simple, you can follow, but the reason that we are here so that we can socialize with you all, like virtual socialization that we can do. So please be involved with us, send your comments, even you have a comment, send your questions, and as we are going to the book club, we're going to take your comments along and we're going to discuss. So Sister Afreen, Assalamu alaikum. How are you doing?
How are you?
I'm good, how about you? How's it going at the home with the children and the family? How's it going? Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Staying home? Alhamdulillah. So the kids are okay, or are they getting like, when is this gonna end?
I think after, it's been almost 2 weeks, so they're getting a
little bit edgy, like, right.
Asking if we can go here, go there.
Yes. Inshallah. So Afreen, so were you able to read the 2 chapters?
Yes,
Did you get time? Okay. Okay. So very interesting chapters. So what did you find interesting in the first chapter? We can begin like that. What did you think?
We have now the 3rd chapter. The first topic is count the blessings that Allah has bestowed upon you.
What did you find interesting in this chapter? What caught your attention?
How the author is asking us to reflect. That was something really, the whole book is like that. I think
it makes you think.
Every single chapter, every single topic you get into, it makes you think and reflect on yourself, your life, and what you're actually doing. So in this topic, I was looking at how he's asking, sit and think and be honest with yourself. Look at the numbers and statistics. How many things do you own? How much wealth do you possess? How many blessings do you enjoy? How many things do you have that bring you delight? So it really comes down to looking at all the blessings and figuring out, like, are these the things that are really bringing you delight?
Yeah, and I think what it starts with sit and think. I think this is what we are doing these days more than anything else, right? So it's a good thing.
He goes saying beauty, wealth, children, shade, a home, country, light, air, water, nourishment, medicine. Rejoice and be good cheer.
I think it really blends with what we are doing these days. Like, we are all sitting and thinking, and we're thinking about many things. Yes. But I think he's giving us a good idea, like think positive things, because we look at the numbers of how much Corona had grown, how many people have passed away, what's happening with the masks. So we're all thinking about numbers and statistics. So, but he has given us a good idea. Why don't think about these statistics too, these numbers too?
Yeah. We really never sit and think about all these little blessings.
Exactly.
Little blessings, but actually they're such huge blessings.
They're huge blessings. Exactly. Yeah.
Like you said, everywhere on the media, there's so much negativity. Like I was seeing one of the posts where it shows a lady wrapped up in all plastic and hijab and niqab and everything sitting on the couch. Made me laugh so much. And it just said that after 2 hours of watching news, you end up with all the plastic around you and sitting on the couch.
You know, one thing that I noticed, because, you know, we are so actively, one of the interests that I have is the plastic industry and how it is destroying the environment. I'm always looking into that. What is plastic doing? But you know what I saw? Sometimes you don't realize that these things can be a blessing too. There was a person in China and he was doing a haircut of another person. And you know how he was covering his face? He had a big plastic bottle cut from the bottom and he had this plastic bottle on top of his head. Yeah. So just imagine this saying at the end, but with charity, the dua and love of the poor and the needy. And I think maybe like we say, Allah closes one door and opens others. So maybe the door of maybe doing the other activities that we used to do or other blessings might be closed, but the door of dua and love of the poor and needy is open. You know how we were just talking before the program and you were telling me that how many people are calling that the Masjid relief program that is going on. So inshallah, maybe, you know, this door is open for us at this point. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His mercy is always with us.
Absolutely.
So let's move on to the next chapter. Yes.
Be content. He starts with the court. His courts are beautiful, mashallah. Be content with that which Allah has decreed for you, and you will be the richest of people. So he's measuring richness with how, like, if you're content, then you're rich.
You're rich, yes.
And then he goes into the chapter, a little that makes you happy is better than a lot that makes you miserable.
Exactly. You know,
part of your life that really counts. Aminah, this is something that made me think.
Okay, what is that?
Part of your life that really counts is that in which you are happy and contented. As for greed and panic, they do not count at all.
Exactly. So meaning maybe we have a life of 60, 70, 80 years. So all the time that we were, you know, we were like upset because of our greed and we were panicking, those years don't even count.
Yeah, that really made me think.
Yeah.
It's basically wasting away your life.
Exactly.
You're really going after greed and panicking and crying and sad and all that. Then it's not even worth counting it as your life. Like, you know, the way he's saying it is, only when you're happy and content is what is counted.
And the life itself is already short. And we make it shorter by being unhappy and greedy and things like that. Yes, you're right. So I like this thing over here too, that, you know, that he said, be like a butterfly, which is light-hearted and beautiful, not attached to mere things. It flies from flower to flower, from hill to hill, from garden to garden. Or be like a bee, which goes around good things and produces good things. When it lands on a branch or flower, it does not break it. It takes the nectar and does not sting, and produce honey and does not sting, and buzzes with love and glad tidings. I really, you know, this example that he gave of the butterfly and the honeybee really stuck to me. The voice is not clear?
My voice is not clear.
Maybe Afrin, you can speak up a little bit. Maybe that will help.
I have messages coming from sisters, mashallah.
So you can share the messages, Afrin. We can take the comments too.
That's what they're saying, that Afrin, your voice is not coming.
Okay, inshallah. Yes. So we can move on, I think, So, you know, and the quote at the end of the chapter says, Allah loves those who repent and turn to Him. You know, that's the real thing. And you know what, he made this connection over here, that we can repent when we realize how much Allah has given us in terms of these blessings. Just imagine these days when maybe we are deprived of many things, many people are repenting more. We are realizing this, that maybe, you know, we were not thankful for the little blessings that Allah gave us. So all of us are doing this more, inshallah.
This is in a way, this is such a blessing to just be by yourself, not running around like we always do. We are so busy.
Yeah.
And this time we can actually really sit and reflect and repent.
Yes.
And think about what's wrong and try to fix those things.
Exactly.
Inshallah.
Exactly.
And then the next chapter, he starts with the saying, "Praise be to Allah who has taken away my grief. Look at the clouds and not at the ground."
I love this this topic, this thing that he said, look at the clouds and not at the ground.
Yes, so he's saying, be ambitious, keep climbing, and always have hope. Beware of falling, and remember that life is minutes and seconds. Be like the ant. Be like the ant in hard work, patience, and perseverance. Always keep trying and keep repenting. If you go back to sin, then repent again. And then I like this, what he said down here, where he says, there is no such thing as the last word or the bitter end. Rather, there is always trial and error. And learning from your mistakes. Basically, not giving up.
Not giving up. And I think one of the reasons that people are miserable in this world is that we think this world is the only life that we have. You know, the failure here is the ultimate failure, and the good over here is the ultimate. And well, the reality is that is in the next world, the failure and the success. In this world, it's all about try, how hard you try.
So this relates to the akhirah, right?
Yes, it does. It does.
How we should. Our job is to just keep trying.
Our job is to just keep trying.
Keep trying.
And I like this over here. Life is like a body that may undergo cosmetic surgery. It is like a building that can be renovated and rebuilt from scratch with new decor and paint. Do away with all the thoughts of failure and stop thinking of calamities and problems. So I like this, that, you know, it's so much hope in here, that no matter how old you are, how young you are, there is no end to trying. Yes, and you can keep trying. You cannot say, oh, my life is over, I'm done. This is very cultural thinking. You know, in our Desi culture too, we have this thinking that, you know, once you're past certain age, oh, you're done.
Yes. Sister Iram has a few things. She said, I like how the author talks about be like a butterfly from the garden to garden. It's so true. We invest everything in this life and don't understand that. And then she's also saying, I believe this life is temporary and moving on like butterfly, ever movement, we will be happy and content.
I think so too, because you know how we get attached to our homes, our jobs sometimes, our things. And when they're taken away from, we are so sad for no reason.
Yes.
Why can't Allah replace us with something better?
Absolutely. Most of us are very materialistic in a way. We get attached to things like you said. In fact, Amna, the eye opener for me was in the Quran, the way Allah says, even your children are not yours.
Exactly.
That was very touching for me. Otherwise, the way we think as parents are, no matter what, these children are ours.
Yes.
Almost like our property.
Our property,
but,
yes.
When Allah says that even they are not yours,
they are
just a means to bring them into this world. And then your job is to provide, and you're basically hired for this job.
Yes, you're hired for, and yes, as you said, the word hired, imagine, you know, if you're a CEO of the company, and a new employee comes in and says, train him to replace you. You're going to say, no, I'm not going to do that, right? But these children are here to replace us, right? Yes. Once we leave this world, who takes over everything else that we leave behind, right?
Yeah. You're basically training them to replace you.
Yeah, so move on to the next chapter, inshallah. Okay, chapter number 4. I think the topic number 4. We are still in chapter number 3, but topic number 4. Yeah.
Living in a hut with faith is better than living in a palace with disbelief. And give glad tidings to those who believe.
Yeah. So what did you find interesting over here?
Again, how he says you need to understand the meaning of true happiness. It is not the narrow and distorted meaning that many people imagine. Do you think that happiness is to be found in dollars and dinars, furnishings and clothing, food and drink, means of transportation? Not at all. Happiness is contentment in the heart, peace of mind, a sense of stability, joy in the heart, a righteous attitude, good behavior, and being content with what is sufficient.
Yes, I think he's so on point with that, especially in our times when you see there's an abundance of these things, especially in the Western countries, there's an abundance of these things. That, you know, but just imagine, and because of the abundance of these things, people have become very individualistic too. They just think about themselves. But there are so many people who don't know how to be happy. Even with all these things surrounding them, they don't know how to be happy. They're still sad. You know, suicide rate, you know, is in all the history of humanity, the suicide rate now is the highest, and especially among the younger people. Imagine that. You know, what is that? What is it that they don't have, but they choose to take their own lives?
They're not content.
They're not content.
It's all, I think, about being connected with your Lord.
With your Lord. And contentment comes from within. It never can come from outside. Yeah.
This is like really makes you think that you really, if you look around in your house, you have all this stuff, and
Yeah.
you know, and you measure your happiness and satisfaction with looking at all the stuff you have.
All the stuff. And you know, there was a study that one size, and you know, these are all studies, these are all theories, nothing is proved, but still it's interesting to look at them. There was a study that after a certain square footage of the house, you know, when the square footage of the house exceeds this, the inhabitants in the home are not happy anymore.
Wow.
Maybe they have too much. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're saying that when the house gets bigger, then you don't be happy anymore?
I think because you get so much involved in taking care of that house, that you stop owning the house starts owning you. Yeah.
Then the next topic, organize your time so that you can do all you have to do.
That's a very good thing.
Do you find anything interesting?
I really, you know, what he said over here, that, you know, your medicine is in the revelation, the Quran and Sunnah, your comfort is in faith, your delight in prayer, your peace of mind in contentment, the beauty of your face is in smiling, the protection of your honor is hijab, and your tranquility is dhikr. You know, as if we connect it to the previous chapter, what is going on, that, you know, he's talking about why people are not happy. And over here, he's giving us, you know, what is the solution? The Quran, the Sunnah, the faith, you know, and things like that. I really like the quote over here. He says, be aware of the dua of the one who has been wronged and the tears of the one who has been deprived. So this just, you know, took me back to what was happening around us. I was just thinking about this, that now this one virus has subjugated all of us in many ways. But just last year, just imagine that, a forest fire was created. And that forest fire was created by a man. And, you know, the forest kept burning for days and months. And you know how many animals died in that forest fire? 1 billion animals died. 1 billion animals died. So when we become like materialistic, we just care about our self-interest, this is what happens. Corruption happens. And this is what he's saying, the blessing is all of this, that, you know, pray, but when a person is connected with prayer and faith and all of that, you care about other creation of God too. But now I'm thinking that this virus has come out from the animals. I was just making this connection myself, and it has subjected all of us in many ways. But just last year, did we mention the numbers that this many animals died and this many animals died? 1 billion animals died in these forest fires. Imagine that. This is also the creation of Allah. Yeah.
And it was created by a man.
It was created by human beings, what they have been doing on this planet. Yeah. That is sad, isn't it? So be aware of the dua of the one who has been wronged and the tears of the one who has been deprived.
I like what he says over here, connects us to Quran and says, perhaps a single verse will penetrate deeply in your heart and stir your conscience, bringing guidance, light, and dispelling doubts and despair. So I think, like, really that man who must have created the fire, or any people who do, like, you know, it's all about getting connected to the Quran and getting connected to the right guidance.
Exactly,
learning
exactly.
Religion and trying to be good humans. That is what religion teaches.
Exactly. You know, a person will never know that what my doings are corrupting the earth. And then, you know, something penetrates, comes across like a verse from the Quran, and this is what I'm doing, this is corruption. But imagine those animals died. And we never talked about the numbers, right?
Yeah. Just yesterday news, I saw that a tiger got infected now with the coronavirus.
Really?
COVID-19, yes.
Oh my God,
yes.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Female tiger, and I read that she was tested positive for the COVID-19. Because I thought the animals are not going to be affected by this.
Yeah, this is what I thought too. Okay. Okay, inshallah. So moving on. Yes.
In the 6th chapter,
Mm-hmm.
You can read the verse on the top.
In order that you may not be sad over matters that you fail to get, nor rejoice because of that which you have been given to you. So in this verse of the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us to have this balance in life, that don't be too sad when the sadness comes your way, and don't be like too overly happy, because we know the temporary nature of the world. The sadness, it's not temporary. The happiness, and the sadness is temporary, and so is the happiness too. Yeah.
I like what he says over here about how the come to the recitation of the Quran with humility, useful books, moving lessons, stirring khutbahs, true friendships, sincere repentance, come to spiritual gatherings and remembrance of Allah. Then this court in the end, and in the sound heart there is no room for shirk, deceit, rancor, or envy.
Yes, this is talking about that, because what he's saying in the beginning of the chapter is like distracting music, immoral songs, cheap soap operas, reprehensible plays. All of these things just make our heart dead. You keep seeing these things, like in dramas, they show. I was watching a film. Maybe that film was 30 years old. I think it was. I forgot the name of that. It is some kind of I think something coming out from maybe Indian cinemas, something like that. It was an historical movie, but they were showing domestic violence like anything, and it was so normal. It is so normal. And my daughter noticed that other day. She says that, Mama, in Bollywood, it is shown very, very nicely that these men are going after the women and doing things that in a normal day you would not want that to happen, that somebody's following you around or doing things like that. But these things normalize it so much. So what happens is, when we keep seeing these things, all of this nonsense seems to be very normal. Right? And now we are realizing that, there is something called domestic violence, but if you just do this experiment, go back and see those movies, and you will see it's very they're showing these scenes, the husband is hitting the wife, and you're like, really? But it normalized it.
It was like a norm in the cinema.
It's
very normal.
Very normal. Yeah. Very normal. Very normal.
We
so
don't realize that. Growing up, of course I watched these too, and I was thinking, it's just there. Okay, it doesn't happen in our house, but it's just there. It was very normal. It
was very normal. Nobody would raise a voice that, why is this movie having this? But
that also reminds me of even the culture back home, the way we had maids and servants and all of people who used to be working in the house, because over there there's so much help, right?
Yeah.
So, of course, over here we do everything. We do cleaning the bathrooms or home or anything, cooking, all that is done by us. But the way people treat them over there is also not right.
But it has become a norm.
It has become a norm.
Because nobody's is like,
we grew up seeing it and we never objected to it or anything. Now when we go back, I realize that this is not the way to treat other human beings.
Yes, because we have been put in another environment. Our hearts were able to heal because of being away from that. So this is what he's talking about over here. Yeah.
So it's so important. Like even the kids, like they were the last time we went to India, they were like, why are they talking to this girl like that? They were questioning.
Yes.
They did not like it. They were like, it's normal. That's how they do it.
This is how they do it. Yes. This is, and it shouldn't be done this way.
No, it shouldn't. No, they need to fix it. We all need to fix it.
We all need to fix it. Yes. Yes. So topic number 7, O my Lord, expand for me my breast, grant me self-confidence, contentment, and boldness. I love this quote. I love this ayah from the Quran. Yes, yeah. Yeah.
Then over here he asked, can this short life be wasted on idle matters and trivial pursuits? Do you have another life besides this one?
Very important question.
Oh my God.
Just imagine this. Do you have another life beside this one? Why are you wasting this one? Yeah.
None of us can deny that.
And look at this. Do you have the promise from Allah that you will never die? Just simple things that we forget. Oh my God, really, really, right? Yeah.
Wasting away our life after things that are not really important.
Important. And he's saying in the beginning, I have read the stories of dozens of actors, singers, and others who were involved in idle pursuits, both living and dead. And I said, what a shame. What are the Muslims, men and women, believing men and women, the sincere men and women, the men and women who fast, the men and women who worship Allah the Exalted, and the men and women who are humble and devout? You know, that, like she says, why are these people doing that? And this is a very, like, you know, simple questions, but really shakes you. Do you have another life?
Yeah.
No.
If we really ask this every day, wake up and ask ourselves.
Yes.
Do we have another life? What do you want to do with the day?
Yes, yes, yes.
Take
yes.
stock of yourself then and draw up a new plan. Strive hard to catch up and climb aboard the ship of salvation.
Yeah, and I really like the quote over here. The wise woman turns a desert into a beautiful garden. Can you imagine that? And if you just imagine what a desert is and what a garden is and how different they are, and if anyone has to turn a desert into a garden, how hard it will be. But this reminded me of those women that, you know, because of all these heroes, the mother of all these heroes, you know, all these great scholars, it was their moms and that turned the desert of Arabia into the garden of Islam with the way they raised their children. Imagine that. Yeah, and the women's, I do believe the women still have this power. Only if they become aware of that, only then they can use this power. But sometimes we are wasting our lives in, you know, very idle pursuits. Yeah.
You are the first mentors of your children. You're mentoring them, you're teaching them, you're showing them the difference between right and wrong.
Yeah.
So women play a very big role.
Big role. And just, you know, we keep saying that Ummahat al-Mumineen. What I learned from that is the mother, a Muslim mother is a mother of a nation. You know, she does not only care about her children, she cares about the children of the Ummah. Yeah, and I think this is what he's saying. The wise woman turns the desert into a beautiful garden.
Aminah's sister Rumana, she used to be so active with all her book clubs.
Yes, she has been with us for the longest time, yeah.
So she's asking, if someone is materialistic, what will he do to become a content person? Does he need to change the company, or does he need to do more ibadah? What basically?
All of that, all of the above. All of the above.
Change the company, Aminah?
Change the company. You know, it doesn't mean, you know, company means over here is, and I told you the next book we're going to read is about friendship. Yeah, a good book that I came across. So the company means that people you hang out with, you know, on very regular basis. They are the ones who influence you. For example, someone I met once a month or in my school or at my job and things like that, those are acquaintances. But the people who are really going to influence you are the people who you know, spend a lot of your time with, most of your time with. So these are going to be the people that are going to influence you. And this is the company like that, of course it's going to influence. I don't think any of us is that strong that can think, okay, no matter how my company is, I will not be influenced. I don't think so that can happen. Yeah. So
I've heard some people, I will influence them.
Inshallah. But we all need support from somewhere too. Yes, we can influence other people, but we also need influence from somewhere too.
We need a shield up.
Yes, and you know, people ask, okay, now the next question comes that where is the good company? Now that's the question. But you know, our ulama have said that, you know, this is a good company, that we're sitting together and discussing something good. It doesn't have to be in person always, or sometimes reading about people. You know, and sometimes you can just pick up a book and read about people. They might not be Muslims, but they are people with a vision, with a goal in life. You know, I'm reading a book these days, a very simple book. And yesterday I started reading a chapter of that book to my kids every day. It's not easy to sit them, they laugh a lot when I'm reading to them, but they are slowly coming around. So the book is Make Your Bed. And I think, Afreen, this is one of the books that we should read too.
Okay.
So this person is talking about how making his bed and being prompted to make his bed every day the way the standard was, made him such a successful person. Doing the good, small things right and having a structure in his life made him who he was.
Wow, making the bed.
Make Your Bed, that's the name of the book, Make Your Bed. Yeah. Yeah, so yes, Rumana, all of the above. That's all I can say. Yeah.
So Rumana, inshallah, all of the above for you. Then on the next chapter, we can get into the key to happiness is frustration.
Yeah.
This is where he is showing us the importance of Fajr prayer.
Exactly.
You.
Yeah, so the first step towards happiness is saying prostration, meaning submitting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, being obedient to Him. Because you know what? Just like this question, how can I be successful? How can I prevent myself from loss? You know what? Who can tell us? The one who created success and the one who created loss. That's very easy to understand. I want to be successful, I have to submit to one who created success. I want to prevent myself from loss, I have to submit to one who created loss. So this is what Fajr does for us. In the morning when we wake up for Fajr, this is the start of the day. We submit ourselves, we submit our nafs, we submit our desires to the one that has created us. So he says, start your day with it, and then you will be under the protection and care of Allah the Almighty. He will protect you from the evils and guide you to all that is good. Allah does not bless a day that does not start with Fajr. It is the first step towards acceptance and success. And again, the thing I was talking about, making your bed. Like, Fajr gives us that spiritual structure in life, that practical structure in life that is needed. It says, so glad tidings to all those who pray Fajr, and misery and loss to those who neglect this prayer.
Wow, that's somewhere you don't want to be.
That's somewhere you don't want to be. But there are many traditions that Fajr also is a way of increasing your rizq. That, and many people, I have personally talked to people who said that they started going to the Masjid for Fajr, men, and to pray Fajr in congregation, and it helped them with their means of rizq too. It's a personally.
How it's sparred, all these 5 prayers apart, you can see the benefits, the byproduct of all the part that Allah has made on us.
On us, yeah.
It gives discipline.
It gets discipline, and just very simple thing. How can I be successful? Submit to the one who made success. How can I prevent myself from loss? Submit to the one who created loss. Yeah.
He ends with the chapter with futile arguments and trivial discussions take away the sense of peace and tranquility.
That's so true. That is so true. Because when we are talking about, silly things, then we end up into silly matters, and it disturbs the peace of the heart.
And arguments, I think.
Arguments, yes.
I feel like when you start arguing, I think in the other chapter going forward, I think in the next chapter he talks about that.
Yes.
Inshallah, we'll get deeper into that. But I see how arguments can really have such a negative impact on your personality.
Your personality, yes.
It's just better to, if somebody's not agreeing, it's better to just leave them alone.
And these days when, I was reading this in one of the newspapers, it says these days the couples are forced to spend time together, so lots of arguments are going on at home.
Oh my God.
With the children, with the family, so no good. Yeah.
Right, now is the time, sabr.
Sabr, yes. Yes.
The next 3 chapters, no, not this one, I think.
Next to your topics.
This chapter has 4 different stories of these wonderful women.
Yeah.
Old women make heroes. All 4 of them are such inspiring stories.
Exactly, and if look at the first story, Hajjaj bin Yusuf, the tyrant, and someday you'll get in the history of Al-Hajjaj bin Yusuf. So look at that. He comes to her and says, I killed your son. And she said, if you do not kill him, he will die anyway.
Subhanallah.
Imagine that.
Death is coming coming anyway.
Death is coming anyway. So, if you're killing him, he'll probably end up in a better way. He's going to be a shaheed. The story is that. Yeah, because his son was a righteous man.
So, then there's the story about the Persian woman who entrusted her chicken coop to Allah. Oh Allah, protect my chicken coop, for you are the best of protectors. I think it's just about their faith and their belief in Allah, and how they just let the dunya. Again, we can go back to what we did in the last book club session about Asiya, radiallahu anha.
Exactly.
She put her trust in Allah and gained
the
Jannah
heavens.
rather than home in Jannah, rather than over here.
Exactly. Yeah.
Let go of the world.
Yeah.
My favorite story, Asma bint Abi Bakr, who saw her son Abdullah ibn Az-Zubair crucified and said her words, "Is it not time for the night to dismount?"
Yes. Like, her son came in to ask her.
Yeah.
And she told him, go out and fight.
Yeah. And then when this tyrant who kills the Hajjaj killed him, right? Hajjaj is the one who killed
Yes.
him too?
Yes. He was shaheed, yes.
So when he comes and this is, I think, very known and famous. When he comes to her and he says, "I killed your son, I finished his dunya."
Yeah.
She smiles and she says, "You finished his dunya, but he finished your akhirah."
He finished your akhirah. Imagine the trust that they have.
Yeah.
Yes.
The strength too.
The strength, the courage,
and
the strength.
That comes from the belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Yes. So Islam gave us these women to look up to, right? And look at these women, their trust, their courage, their obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they are driving their strength from Allah, not from, I'm only going to be strong if I'm like a man. This is what, but look at the media telling us that you can only be strong if you're like a man, if you do what a man does. And he's also a creation of Allah. How can we be strong by doing what another creation of Allah who is so dependent on Allah is doing?
And the women just go crazy and
women just go crazy and upset.
Feminism,
yes.
You want to be equal to men.
Yes.
All that.
Yeah.
All those issues.
And we're already equal.
Already equal. Where are you going to go?
Yeah. We both have to pray 5 times a day, both men and women. Both have to fast 30 days of Ramadan. Both have to do Hajj.
Both are accountable for
both are accountable. Yeah.
Equally.
Yeah.
Just because if we think we are lower, it's not that we're not accountable to that.
Yeah.
The last story too.
Yeah.
Khansa.
Al-Khansa, who offered 4 martyrs for the sake of Allah, and when they were killed, she said, "Praise be to Allah, who has honored me by causing them to be slain as martyrs for His sake." And I really like the quote over here: "Take from the breeze its tenderness, from the musk its fragrance, and from the mountain its steadfastness." You have to be like soft like that, and you also have to have this side too, that you're like a mountain.
And musk, the beauty, the fragrance.
The beauty and the fragrance. The other people enjoy your company. They enjoy being with you. Yeah.
We came to the end of 3rd chapter. The last topic here is to be the most beautiful woman in the world.
This is a big industry, right?
Yeah.
The makeup industry.
With your beauty, you are better than the sun. With your morals, you are more sublime than musk. With your modesty, you are nobler than full moon. With your compassion, you are more beneficial than rain. So preserve your beauty with faith, your tranquility with contentment, your chastity with hijab. Remember that your adornment is not gold, silver, or diamonds. Rather, it is 2 rakahs of Fajr. So this saying that your connection with Allah is what is going to give you the beauty.
Yeah, like it means like we said, most beautiful, and we have these pageants going on where people are crowned for being most beautiful. But he's saying that really, if you really need that crown, it comes with being the abd of Allah. That's where it comes from, right? And and Afrin, I think we'll all agree to that. So much attention is giving to making your outside beautiful. So much. How these advertisement industries come in, so much so cream can make you look like that, and everybody's buying that cream. And then they're realizing it doesn't work. Then there is a new cream that comes in, right?
No, forget about creams, now it's all about plastic surgeries, and they're going under the knife. And I just just saw some documentary recently where these women were trying to look like other actresses and all the famous celebrities.
By going through plastic surgery?
Yes.
Wow.
So they're getting their nose, plastic surgery is being done at their nose. It was actually, the show was about a doctor, a plastic surgeon, and this is his show. So every week, in every session, I think he shows how he transformed this lady to look like this celebrity.
Oh my God.
And then he shows pictures of both before and after, and then celebrity and her, and they just look alike. They're messing up their faces.
Oh my goodness.
Just to look
Allahu
beautiful.
Akbar. Allah. And still what's going to happen is many people will not even want to be close to them because they're not beautiful inside. And many people want to be close to a person because when they're beautiful inside, and they might not be as beautiful from outside.
Yeah. It reflects.
It reflects.
Your inner beauty reflects.
Yes, and I think when people are trying to look so beautiful from outside, even going under the knife, I doubt if they're not working on their inside, then Allahu Alam. Yeah.
It's very sad to see this. It just shows how unsatisfied we are, like how not happy with what Allah has given us.
Yes.
Not looking at the blessings and the ni'mas that we have. Everything
Yes.
working. In your intellect, your heart. There's so much.
Yes.
That Allah has given us.
And the similar thing is happening with, before it was this, hijab is oppressing women. Now the fashion industry has picked it up. I'm writing a paper for one of the journals, Hijab Co-opted. And I'm doing some research and I'm finding out how the meaning of hijab has been taken up by the fashion industry and turned around. It is something now, even so much so that when models come out wearing a hijab, people are dazzled by it.
Yes.
Like it's completely co-opted, completely. Yeah, so.
They're becoming very popular.
They're becoming very popular, that,
The hijab, but then the dressing and everything is like the...
And hijabi fashion models. I saw a magazine somewhere, and all the magazine was about this model was wearing a hijab in each and every picture. But she had, in one picture, she had multiple piercing on her face, and makeup that goes along with those hijabs that the model was wearing, completely co-opted, completely.
Yeah. Like you said, it's one of the things that's selling now.
It's selling now. And the entire reason for the hijab was that when I'm interacting as a human being, and not as a gender, and not as a male or a female. And that thing has been completely co-opted at this point.
Let me look at the comments on that. Rumana is again saying, in front of Allah we are equal, but in our society we are not equal in front of men. And that's what feminists says.
That's true. She's right about that not everything that feminists say is wrong, because many things they're saying, the issues that they raised are true, because glass ceiling is there, they're not paid the same, right? They are not given those opportunities before, even they were not able to get into the universities and all of that. But we're talking like today's feminism now. Yes, the issues that they raised, or many of them, the issues stand correct. But the solutions that they're presenting, that is problematic.
Right.
So this is what we are saying, but she's right. Society have their own standards and they don't follow the religion. She's very right about that.
I really love this quote that he ends the 3rd chapter with.
Yeah.
Wherever you go and find darkness in your life, what you have to do is to light the lamp within yourself.
Imagine that. But that lamp needs some oiling, and that oiling comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right?
No, but
Yeah.
the light is inside us.
Exactly.
We're looking, no matter how dark it is outside, we don't need to be sad.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
Exactly.
We need to see that Allah is with us.
Yeah.
Quran is with us. The teachings that we've learned,
Yeah.
or we are learning, inshallah, the hidayah is from Allah.
Inshallah, it says, become the light you want to see, like become the change you want to see.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
We just have to turn the switch on.
Yes, that's it. That's it. Simple.
It's so simple.
It's so simple. Yeah.
We
Okay,
entered
so
the 5th book, chapter 4.
how? And the chapter 4 starts with an amazing quote. When you wake up in the morning, do not expect to live until evening. Imagine if we are spending the day with this thing in our mind, how productive that day is going to be, right? sometimes you go back in history and you look at these people, like Imam Nawawi with his 40 hadith that we still to this day are studying, and then you realize the guy was only 35 years old and he wrote so much. His life was only that, and then you realize how were they able to do so much in so little time, because they lived their life like that. Can you imagine this? Yeah, wow.
I didn't know that it was just 35. I would imagine, whenever I picked up that book, I would imagine some really old man.
Oh no, he passed away very early. He went away very early, but imagine they were able to do so much without...
This book is everywhere. Imam Nawawi's 40 hadiths is like everywhere.
Nawawi's, yes, it's everywhere. Everyone studies that book. Imagine.
So much sadaqah jariyah for him, mashallah.
Yeah. He was 35 years of age, but he's living forever. Right?
This is the kind of work. This is the kind of work.
Exactly. Yes.
So after this is again what we did in the last last book club session, where the author, mashallah, Dr. Aid compares and asks us to be like that tall tree. So here he elaborates on that in this chapter, and he says, be like that palm tree and rise above evil and harm.
Yeah.
If a stone is thrown at the palm tree, it lets its fruit drop and does not retaliate. It remains green summer and winter and gives many benefits.
Many benefits.
Do not lower yourself to the level of trivial matters and rise above all that may damage your modesty and honor.
And I think
a good advice.
Such a good advice. And I think the quote really seals up the message. Do not give up on yourself, because change is usually slow. You will encounter obstacles that will discourage you, but do not let these obstacles defeat you. Amazing. This is really good. Amazing that, he gives us this kind of advice.
Every single sentence or every single quote, I think you need a few days to think about it.
This is the kind of a book, what ulama say, the knowledge, like, the knowledge of fiqh, or the knowledge of, intellectual things that we talk about, theology, fiqh, and all of that, or maybe you're interested in other kinds of things that people read, politics and things like that. But this is the kind of the book that you take one piece of wisdom every day and just keep thinking about it. Is that kind of
ponder upon it the whole day.
Yes.
Thinking about it and try to apply it in your life.
Yes, exactly. So the topic 2 in this chapter 4 is invoke me, I will respond to your invocation. This is Quran. Yes, it's we are on topic number 2. Accept the blessings and make the most of it. Make the most of the blessings of Allah. Give thanks to Him and obey Him. Enjoy the water that you drink and use for wudu. Enjoy the warmth and light of the sun. And this is what amazing thing about this world is. Allah has given us this world not to be like, it's not like a pasture that we go in like an animal, that we graze and we come back. This world is just this thing in water. It fulfills our need for thirst, and it also fulfills our spiritual needs, because we think about who is the creator of the water. How does this water reach me? And then this water also fulfills you spiritually, that you say Alhamdulillah. Prophet ﷺ has taught us to say the du'as, and then you realize that what does these du'as do for you. So the water and the food fulfills you in a physical way, but they also fulfill you in a spiritual way, because when you think, how did this water reach me? How did this food reach me? Who is the creator of all of that?
These days I'm really starting to think the other way around. Like literally with water, I got this thought that what if we don't have water anymore? It really, I'm like starting to think that because the way our life suddenly changed.
Yeah.
And we are right now at home. Like my daughter comes to me and she says like, I want to go to Chuck E. Cheese. And I'm just looking at her and I'm like, oh no, Chuck E. Cheese is not there anymore. I cannot take you, it's closed. so then like little things like the way kids are saying, let's go out and eat ice cream or whatever. These ni'mas are taken away from
You would have never thought about it.
We never thought, and overnight it was like that.
Overnight, exactly.
And subhanAllah, the way we are right now, we're so used to these comforts. living in, you know, nice homes, using water as much as we want, electricity. Oh, it's hot, turn the air conditioner on. Oh, it's cold, turn the heater on.
Taking it for granted.
We are, yeah.
Entitlement. Yeah.
Just because of course I'm coming from back the third world country, and we used to have that scarcity of water there. I grew up with that. Like, we didn't have running water all the time. There was certain times that water would turn on, and we would fill up all our tanks with the water, and then use it for 2 days, and then again
that happens.
And
yes.
was like we were good, like that we got water every other day.
Yes.
Many homes that didn't even have that.
And the water can turn hot or cold anytime. You know, you're in winter and you're expecting hot waters to come from the tap. It can turn cold.
Oh yeah. So I was just like thinking, just making wudu, like turning the faucet off, and I'm thinking, what if you don't have water?
And you know, Afreen, remember we talked about this, that there is a prediction that in the next few years the war is going to be water wars. Yes, we're gonna run out of water, drinking water.
Oh my God.
We will have water refugees.
Somebody had shown that the next crisis, I think I read that somewhere, that the next crisis, because of the corona, that they're asking us to wash our hands for 20 seconds. You're wasting that water flowing for 20 seconds. Turn it off and then rub your hands for 20 seconds.
The next is and you know the Bill Gates video, you saw that? He predicted 5 years ago about the virus.
Yes.
And the other day I was watching the Trevor Noah show, and Bill Gates was on the program. And you know, because he's funny, you know, he makes jokes, and he's asking us, do you have anything else that keeps you awake at night? So we start preparing for it now. Because when he said it 5 years ago, this is how he said it. He says, we are making all these things, but this is not going to be it. Actually, we will have to fight a virus. It came true. Yeah.
I don't know how.
Yeah.
Let's not get into those theories. Take us somewhere else.
Yes. Okay, so yes, so topic two. Yes.
Over here, the bottom also is really beautiful. Before you look at I like this a lot. Again, it's about being positive. Before you look at the thorn of the rose, look at its beauty.
Yeah.
Before you complain about the heat of the sun, enjoy its light.
Yes.
Before you complain about blackness of night, think about its peace and quiet.
Yeah.
Why look at things in such a pessimistic and negative manner? Why deny and change blessings?
Yes. So Allah is saying, don't worry about the water crisis. Just enjoy it for now.
What we have right now.
Yes.
Think of all the positive things.
Think of all the positive things. And he ends the chapter with a beautiful quote. Changing from bad to good is a long-term adventure, but it is wonderful. So he says, enjoy the ride. Don't think about where will it take you. Yeah.
But Aminah, I don't know if I really agree with this in a way. I don't know, or am I not understanding it right?
No.
Changing from bad to good is a long-term adventure.
It is.
But don't you think if we know that this is something bad, then we stop right away, or don't we have that strength?
Yeah, that's the thing, Afreen. People know what is good and what is bad. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us a basic understanding of good and bad, but people don't, but it's hard. It's hard to give up something that you are maybe enjoying it in a short-term manner, or, you know, who hooked up to it. People know what food is not good for them. We know what is bad for us, but, you know, it takes a little bit of a time and effort.
Maybe is this maybe talking about a person's nature?
Yeah, it's talking about like human nature, like, you know, maybe you can say human shortcomings, that we know what is good and bad for us, but we usually take time to, you know, to give it up. Yeah.
That help all of us.
Yes.
Let me read. Sister Iram is saying, women are still trying to come up with men's standards. They are still thinking men are better than women.
Really? Yeah.
Then you answer, Iram.
Yes, you're right, Iram. You're very correct. Women do think like that, But yes, they should think more than what they're thinking. Yes, this is a social construction, as I might say. The society construct these things, and we are made to follow it, and we made to believe that this is the right way. But think about it. This is a social construction. Just people have made it up. People might be saying it, or they might be thinking about it, but that's not what the Quran is saying. No. Mm-hmm.
So we get into the next chapter.
Great
deal of provision comes with seeking forgiveness.
Mm.
In these 3 chapters.
Yeah, there are stories.
I'm not topic 3, 4, and 5.
They're all stories.
They're beautiful
very beautiful stories.
Inspiring stories, and more than inspiring, I think these are like miraculous stories.
Miraculous stories.
How Allah is still doing.
Allah is so involved in our lives. In our lives, yes.
And if you just somebody says this to us, these stories, we're not gonna be like, oh really? But people are going through these miracles in their lives.
In their lives.
From Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
No human, yeah.
It's humanly not possible.
And Allah has promised us in the Quran, Allah will not burden a soul beyond what it can bear. Right.
The first story, Amna, mashallah, this is so beautiful. The ladies, my husband died when I was in my 30s, and I had 5 children, boys and girls from him. My world turned dark around me, and I wept until I feared I would lose my sight. I complained about my bad luck and fell into despair and depression. My children were small, and our income was not sufficient. I was spending carefully from the little money that our father had left for us. One day in my room, I turned on the radio and tuned into the Holy Quran radio station. I heard a sheikh saying, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever prays to Allah a great deal for forgiveness, Allah will grant him relief from every distress and a way out from every hardship. So after that, I began to pray a great deal for forgiveness, and I told my children to do likewise. Only 6 months later, the developers came, bought some old property of ours, and paid us millions for it.
Imagine that.
My son became the first student in his region to memorize the entire Quran, and he became the focus of people's care. And I have become the happiest. She ends by saying, I have become the happiest of women.
Yeah.
Imagine. It's giving me goosebumps again.
Yes.
It gave me goosebumps the first time I read it, and now again reading to you.
So say, if you are in despair, you will learn nothing and you will never find happiness. If you give in to despair, you keep your trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is what it's a beautiful story.
She was in such a miserable state.
Yes.
And what brought her back is the Quran.
Is the one ayah from the Quran.
Asking forgiveness.
Yes. Yes.
Maybe we really don't give it importance.
We don't. So this Hassan al-Basri was sitting one day with his students, and a person came to him and said something that he was going through. Hassan al-Basri told him to say astaghfirullah as many times as he can. Another person came with another problem, he said the same solution. Another person came, and one of his students asked that, yeah, Sheikh, anyone who comes, you tell him the same thing for all these different problems.
What kind of sheikh are you?
Yeah. What kind of sheikh are you? Make it difficult. No. So then he said that to come out of every hardship, ask Allah for forgiveness. This is what dua of Yunus alayhi salam. La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu minaz zalimin. Like, you are the subhan, I am the one who is at mistake. So when a person turns around, because many times Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put people in these situations because Allah loves them and Allah wants them to turn around. Yes, and do be in the right direction. Yeah.
Really, the value of istighfar.
Yes.
We all just don't really realize how important
it is. And look at this ayah that comes, certainly no one despairs of Allah's mercy except the people who disbelieve. Imagine that, what kind of a faith that would be, that we despair in Allah's mercy.
It relates to right now.
Yes, it relates to right now.
We think that this is hard.
Yeah.
And it's getting hard now for everyone, staying at home, everyone, but we have to believe in Allah's mercy.
And especially for those people who might be losing their jobs, because we are anticipating an economic recession because of all the businesses going down and all of that. But again, we should have belief in Allah's mercy, inshallah. Yeah.
Then the next story is about...
and Afreen, just imagine if all this didn't happen, would we be doing this book club?
We would be just sitting 7, 8 ladies together.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
You would still do it, Aminah, in your house.
Yes. Yeah.
That was...
it's a blessing.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a blessing.
It's a blessing, yeah.
So then...
So dua, the second story is about the dua, and the story goes like, I have a righteous, devout friend whose wife was stricken with cancer. They had 3 children. He fell into despair and his world turned dark. One of the scholars advised him to pray Qiyam al-Layl and make dua in the last part of the night before dawn, as well as praying for forgiveness and reciting Quran over Zamzam water for his wife. He continued to do these things, and his wife started to wash with the Zamzam water, over which I don't know, maybe it washed with the Zamzam water over which the Quran has been recited. He used to sit with her from Fajr until sunrise, then from Maghrib until Isha, asking Allah for forgiveness and supplicating to Him. Then Allah took away her sickness and healed her and made her hair and skin more beautiful than they had been before. And she became attached to praying for forgiveness and praying Qiyamul Layl. Glory be to the healer, the giver of good health. There is no God but Him and no lords besides Him. And I really, imagine this story, that Allah, because of something like cancer, Allah made her more beautiful, and Allah also made her more pious. So just this power of dua, and asking for forgiveness and praying Qiyamul Layl. That's amazing. And I think with the Ramadan coming, we're all anticipating that Allah gives us a tawfiq to pray Qiyamul Layl, make lots of du'as for Him.
It reminds me of that, like how when calamity strikes or when you go through any trials, Allah is actually purifying you.
Exactly.
Allah is really getting you out of that, cleaning that dirt off you, and
yes.
Purifying you and making you a better person.
Better person.
She got more connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, started praying Qiyam al-Layl and becoming more pious after the calamity.
After the calamity. And maybe cancer, we can say that made her a better person, inside and outside. She says
that became a reason.
That became a reason. Yes, that became a reason.
Then he ends this topic with check your past and your present, for life is a sequence of experiences from which you should emerge victorious. Yes,
I think what he's saying is that, whenever you despair and lose hope, look at your past and see how many times Allah took you out from where you were stuck, and He made way out for you. So if He had brought you till here, He will take you further too.
Inshallah.
Yeah, why despair?
We have to have that faith, and that is what will keep us going.
Yeah. So I think this is another story, Afreen. Would you like to go through the story?
Yeah, sure. The young man was jailed, and his mother had no one else but him. She could not sleep, and distress took hold of her completely. She wept until she could weep no more. Then Allah guided her to say, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. There is no power and no strength except with Allah. She repeated these great words, which are one of the treasures of paradise. And only a few days after she had despaired of her son ever coming out of jail, he was knocking at the door, and she was filled with joy.
Imagine the power of La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. There is no power and no strength except with Allah.
We think this really brings back to so many things that we want, or we think that, it's impossible.
It's impossible.
I do not get it.
There's
no way I can have this. But if your dua and your intent and you keep begging Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for it, I think I have firm belief that I will get it.
You'll get it. And this
the power is with Allah.
Power with this Allah.
Minute.
And this story was also reminding us the story of Yusuf alayhi salam. How his father kept weeping for him, and how he got back to him. Yes. Imagine that. And the quote that at the end he says, do not make your problems the subject of conversation with others, for by doing so you create a barrier between yourself and happiness. And I think this is what he's saying. Instead of saying, how we complain about Allah to people, This is what he's saying. Complain to Allah. Say, Allah, this is my problem. This is what. But don't complain about Allah, because la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. There is no power except Allah. So many times you see on the Facebook and people just talk about their problems, and they just share their problems with everyone. Oh, this is happening. And what happens, Afreen? You know what happens when people put up their problems on these social platforms. What happens? They just become a reason for mockery, and I think they get into more trouble than they're already in. Yes, and sharing with somebody sincere is a good thing, but just making it like is a public thing. We're complaining about Allah to people. It just increases our problems.
Yeah, I like this sentence that you said here, Amna. Beware of losing hope or becoming frustrated.
Oh yeah.
For there is no hardship,
but it is followed by ease. Exactly. Just a good reminder for us to understand. Okay, so number 6. I really like this chapter 2, that verily your Lord is of vast forgiveness. Inna rabbaka wasi'al maghfirah. It says, your house is a kingdom of glory and love. My dear sisters, stay in your home except for serious and necessary matters, for your home is a secret of your happiness. So many times, because the book is talking to women, this is why he's saying my dear sisters, but we do know that for brothers and for the sisters, for men and the women, Islam puts this standard in front of us that if you don't stay out of the home for unnecessary things. And we know from the even from the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ that right after Isha he would come home. Right? So many people just take it in a negative way that, why do we have to stay home and all of that? But just imagine how many fitnas we get involved into by getting involved in unnecessary things that are of no use to us. Right? Yeah. So
especially
people just...
women, they will get offended if they hear this.
Are we?
Stay at home? Why should we stay at home?
No, but he's saying for necessary things you come out. Even the wives of the Prophet ﷺ, one of the wives of the Prophet ﷺ, her name was... the mother of the Ummul Masaqeen was her name, right? It was Zainab radiallahu anha. And Prophet ﷺ knew she would come home a little later because she would be out and working with the Masaqeen, with the poor people, and she was known by that. And Aisha radiallahu anha, she even went up until Iraq to teach people. So it's not that you cannot go out of the home. It's not about that. It's about that do go out of the home, but for the right reasons. You have to do groceries, you have to get things from your home, but sometimes people are just, for unnecessary things, they're out and about, and it just brings more problems and things like that.
It brings back to what we're doing right now. When we're staying home, we can see how productive we are.
Exactly.
In so many ways.
Yes.
We're doing so much at home.
At home.
Compared to what we did not do.
We did not do.
I know there were important things that we were doing outside of home too,
yeah.
But now I see the homes are more cleaner, more organized.
And the family is more connected.
Family is more connected.
Yeah, and just imagine, if women and men are just out doing nothing important, and the family is just there waiting for them, there's no family time happening. What's the use of that? Right? So, and then he says that she has no concern for religion or dawah, and no ambition to pursue knowledge and become educated. Rather, she's extravagant, and her main concern is food and dress. So be aware of forsaking your home, because it is the place of happiness, safety, and tranquility. At the sanctuary that gives a sense of protection, make your home a focus of love, generosity, and goodness.
No, I think we can also relate to this. Sometimes, when we go to the grocery store, or even to the shopping mall or anything, even though we go to buy maybe one thing, we end up buying 4 things.
A fitna, right?
It's fitna, really.
And you don't need those things.
Yeah, we don't. But
you just pile and pile and pile.
Oh, this is something we might be able to use it. We might.
Yeah.
And this is just this extravagance. We really have to stop that.
Yeah, exactly.
Really think that, okay, this is something I need and this is something I do not need.
Yes.
Even if it is for $2.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes we just fill up our pantries with things and we never use them.
Never use them.
Yeah. And they go wasted.
Yeah. This is what I think going out, it just fitna really. Sometimes I feel that.
Oh yeah, of course. It can be anything. Yes. And wasting of time. You could have made the time, maybe you didn't find time to do exercise, maybe have a more productive day, exercise, take care of your health. You could not able to do that. Okay, so number 7.
How wonderful is the situation of the believer, for his affairs are all good.
Yeah. You do not have time for the idle talk.
Avoid arguments and getting involved in futile discussions about things that may never happen, because that causes anxiety and annoyance.
Yes, exactly.
Do not always try to convince people, oh, this is what I think is so...
You were telling me you wanted to,
I wanted to talk about this.
Yeah.
Do not always try to convince people about matters that are open to different points of view.
Yeah.
Rather, simply state your view quietly without getting angry or trying to pressurize others.
Yeah, that I think we all need to learn.
Right.
It's not like my way or highway.
Yes, and also my view is the right view.
Yeah, right view. Yes, exactly.
There can be different views, different opinions, different people can think in different ways.
Yes.
We need to really understand that there are different opinions. And
there are different, yes.
There are different people coming from different backgrounds,
yeah,
different experiences.
Exactly.
Right? Like, avoid refuting or criticizing others too much, but that will make you feel uneasy and give others the wrong impression.
Yes.
Say what you have to say in a kind and gentle manner.
Exactly.
This is the key.
And sometimes you say things with arrogance, maybe the right things, it turns people off.
Yes.
They don't want to listen to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is really, I've learned that the way you say things is more important than what you're saying.
Emotional intelligence, right?
Emotional intelligence.
Yeah. And you also understand, a lot of stress was always being put on IQ. But now we're realizing IQ is not the only intelligence. Spiritual intelligence and emotional intelligence. Unless you have these two, IQ is not going to do anything for you. Yeah.
You can have all the IQ,
all the wisdom. Oh yes.
Yeah.
But you have no place to work because nobody wants to be around you.
even the way we deal with children.
Yeah, exactly.
When we say it in a harsh way,
yes,
it doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
And
yes.
when you say the same thing politely and nicely explaining, giving reasoning, or being nice to them, then they listen.
Yes, there's a famous story. This king, he has this, the people who predict the future. What are they called? They used to be in the palaces of the kings.
Right.
I forgot their name. So fortune tellers. Yes. So this king this fortune teller comes to him and he says, "Oh king, all of your children are going to die before you." The king becomes very upset. What do you mean? And put him in the prison. The next one comes. He says, "You tell me." He says, "Oh king, mashallah, Mubarak, mashallah, you're going to have a long life." So imagine he's saying the same thing actually. Masha? Yeah. Yes.
The king is happy that
the king is happy. Yeah. The king is happy. So, and he finishes off the quote and says, "The mother whose child falls from a high place should not waste time weeping. Rather, she should focus on tending to his injuries." Meaning sometimes this happens too. If our children make a mistake, we're like, "Why did you do that? Like, why?" But is that, all of us are going to make mistakes anyways. Like ulama says, instead of being too focused on why they made a mistake, focus on how can you help them come back from that. So this is what he's saying, that don't get into like why did they make, and all these arguments come in and this shouting and anger and all of that. And what really needs to be done is to help the child.
Yes. Otherwise, really, like even for now, if we start thinking, "Oh, it's all so bad," and we sit and just cry and be in despair, then who's going to fix it?
Who's going to fix it? Exactly.
Who's going to work and fix? Mashallah, all these forefront, all the doctors and all these people who are in the forefront working and everybody hides.
Yes, and somebody is not doing any of that and is blaming the Chinese people.
It's a foreign virus. It's foreign.
It's foreign. Yes.
So that's something.
Yes.
Came to us.
Yes. So chapter 8. Understand that whatever befalls you.
Before we start that, most important lesson from this topic.
Okay, what is that?
Pay attention to correcting your own faults and forget about people's faults. Could not have passed that topic without it.
So this is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, understand that whatever befalls you could have not missed you. So don't say Chinese did it or the foreign virus. It's a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. Yes. So then, be cheerful at heart and the universe will embrace you. It's so beautiful is this, right?
Yes.
And he says, look at the life with the spirit of love and optimism, for life is a gift from Allah to man. So accept this gift from the One, take it with joy and embrace the morning with its glow and night with its quietness. And, I really like, these lines from here. Let these blessings motivate you to obey Allah and the Exalted. Give thanks to Him and praise Him for blessings and bounty. Do not let worry and distress prevent you from seeing these blessings and make you ungrateful. So beautiful things over here. MashaAllah. And even Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that to the prophets that, oh dear messenger, eat of the tayyib food which Allah has made lawful and do the righteous deeds. Yeah.
In the ayah of the Quran is mentioned, all messengers, eat of the tayyib. That's what you just
Yes, even the prophets were tanned, yeah.
The most sincere generosity comes from those who do not have anything but recognize the value of a kind word and a smile. Many people give, but it is as if they're giving a slap.
They're giving a slap, yeah.
This is something we all need to work on.
Yes, exactly.
Everyone, we all try to give charity, and then you are really sometimes giving it as a slap.
And you know what he's trying to make this connection here, giving it like a slap is being ungrateful. Because if we understand that this is from Allah, we will be grateful. And if we are grateful, we will give something from what Allah has given me. I will also be grateful for the opportunity to give.
Yes.
Right? But if we think, oh, this is because I was earning it. It is because I have this qualification. And this is when I give it, I say, okay, this is what I gave. So that is where this attitude is connected with gratefulness. Yeah.
We have to be humble when we give.
Of course.
It's an opportunity for us rather than the person who's taking it.
Yeah.
Right? And also boasting after you give.
Yes.
That is something I see very common.
That's very reprehensible, very
people
nasty.
Give it and then they start boasting, oh, I gave so much here, I gave so much there. I really don't understand the intent.
Yes. So we're running almost out of time, so we have to complete the next 2 chapters. Okay, so and then it comes, whoever fears Allah and keeps his duty to Him, He will make a way for him to get out of every difficulty. And with this, he starts the chapter number 9, or the topic number 9. No one is ever completely happy. This was a good thing.
I like this, the beginning part where he says, you're making a big mistake if you think that life must always be 100% in your favor. This is something that will only happen in paradise.
Imagine this.
In this world, however, happiness is relative. You will not get everything you want. There will always be some problems, sicknesses, adversities, and trials. So be grateful at times of ease and be patient at time of hardship.
Yes. It reminded me of a joke. I was reading this chapter that, this person came to a sheikh, that sheikh, I want a wife who has this quality and this quality and this quality and this quality and this quality. So the sheikh tells him, if I find her, I will marry her first. Because what you're asking for is paradise. Yeah.
So basically, you're not going to get it all.
Yeah, of course. And he said, I'm going to fight you for her if I find her.
Jeff deserves it more, Aminah.
Yeah.
So we have to be just happy and
Yeah.
paradise, inshallah.
Yeah.
We all will get that.
Yes.
Sheikh and the person.
Yes. Okay, inshallah. So coming to the...
Do not be content. Do not be content to have some dark areas in your life, for the light is there. All you have to do is turn it on and see it shining.
It's always inside of you. The happiness comes from inside, not from outside.
I think Quran is the light.
Of course it is.
The more you think, the more you realize. I feel like we have this book in our hands. directly from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Yes, exactly.
It's complete guidance.
Complete guidance and a light and a shining. Yeah. You know, I was reading a quote that when you find Allah, happiness finds you.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's that kind of a thing. So coming to our last chapter, it says, and whoever fears Allah and keeps his duty to him, he will make his matter easy for him. It says now, in the end, he says, enter the garden of knowledge. One of the meanings of finding happiness is understanding Islam, for learning about Islam brings contentment and pleases the Lord. And he's suggesting some, you know, in order to increase your common knowledge in Islam is to read such books as Riyadus Salihin, Fiqh Sunnah, maybe short tafasirs. And then he says, remember the best of your deeds is to know what Allah meant in his book and what the Prophet's peace and blessings be upon him meant in his Sunnah. So study the Quran a great deal with your sisters, memorize whatever you can of it, listen to and act upon it, because ignorance of Islam leads to darkness and anxiety in the heart. So, you know, and then, you know, the quote at the end, he really makes a beautiful quote. The most difficult time could be made easier by the smile of a confident person. And who is this confident person? The one who has great trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And with this, we were talking yesterday about that too, Afreen, that in this time, when we are all feeling so disconnected, right? You know, even the Ramadan is going to be a socially distanced Ramadan. But in this time, the way our Masjid have connected all of us, it is something that, you know, we are grateful for. That, you know, if there, mashallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has provided us with these platforms that we can stay connected, especially with the knowledge of Islam. And, you know, every day we hear something nice. You know, you're at a dinner table, you put on, you know, and some program is going on, and you're learning something from it. And your whole family is getting together, and, you know, this is what we do. At the dinner time, we turn on something, and something is going on. There is some hadith that we are learning, or Dr. Yasir Qadi is doing his dua book, or something like that. And you feel so blessed.
Very blessed, Amina. I think this is, mashallah, more than what we used to do before this happened.
Yes.
We are all like at home, and of course with the family, and directly connected with the masjid.
Directly connected with the masjid,
like
yes.
Turn the channel, YouTube Epic channel on, and then there's always something going on. Mashallah, may Allah reward the masjid.
And even in the chat, we are seeing familiar names, and it gives you a sense of, you know, a community.
Yes. And that's what reminds me to remind the sisters, please be involved, be interactive. We are looking at your comments, inshallah. So send your comments, your questions. We will discuss them. We want to be connected with all our sisters.
Exactly, inshallah.
And please do subscribe to Epic YouTube channel. That way you all will get all the notifications that of the programs that are happening here. And last but not the least, donate to our masjid. They're working really hard, and they need funds in this time of this coronavirus pandemic where everything is closed. So inshallah, be generous with your givings. And Rumana has said something else to Amna. She's saying, if you are optimistic all the time, the other people talk about you that you are not realistic. So what is the right way? You're not living in the real world if you're always optimistic.
But why not? And so, Rumana, first of all, do not care about what people think. So, but do care about, you know, about being realistic. So, being realistic is optimistic, because reality of the situation is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is real. He's here. He has always been here. And he always take people out of their distress and their problems. So what reason is there for not to being optimistic? Because the reality is, we believe in a God. You know, Imam Siraj Bahaj was giving a very good example last night. He says, he was comparing a plane and a planet. He's saying the spellings, only there's a T added in a planet. But look at the plane, it flies, it has food, it has drink, it is created by human beings. Look at this planet that Allah has created. Look how much He has given you, how much He takes care of us. And why should we not be optimistic about anything? Why should we lose hope? Yeah,
sure. That's really nice too. She's saying that this only happens in Epic. Not all masajids are doing this.
Oh. No, we should say that. And we should also say that Epic has given sisters a platform. And I always say that to you know, the way that they have given us a platform for sisters, and they have given us this, opportunity to have this slot for us and do these programs. It's amazing. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward everyone who is involved in this. Inshallah. So
we came to the end, Aminah.
So we came to the end, inshallah. So for next time, please read 3 chapters, 5, 6 and 7. Because we want to finish the book before Ramadan, because inshallah, stay tuned. We are bringing some, inshallah, good, amazing programs for Ramadan too. So stay tuned for that. But before Ramadan, inshallah, we want to finish the book. So please do. We have 3 Mondays before Ramadan, right?
Including today.
Including today. So we have 2 more Mondays left?
2 more Mondays, yes.
So then we will do 3 and 3.
Chapters left. Oh no, I think 3 more Mondays. You're right, Aminah.
Yeah, 3 more Mondays. I think we'll check last night. Yes. So 3 more Mondays, and read 3 chapters for the next time. Come up with your comments and stay involved, because when you're on the chat, you're not only socializing with us, you're socializing with the other people over there, and that's the whole point of that, inshallah. So with that, we come to the conclusion of the book club. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. As-salatu was-salamu ala rasulihil kareem wa alihi sahbihi ajma'in bi rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin. Take care.
إن المسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات والقانتين والقانتات والصادقين والصادقات والصابرين والصابرات والخاشعين والخاشعات والخاشعين والخاشعات والمتصدقين والمتصدقات والصائمين والصائمات والحافظين فروجهم والحافظات والذاكرين الله كثيرا والذاكرات أعد الله لهم مغفرة وأجرا عظيما.